welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And today we have a full room here, as it's Barnes, it's Tony, it's Renee, it's Michael, it's Shayna joins the party today. So everyone's here. Matt, somewhere in spirit.
Texted us to have a good show.
Yes, absolutely. So we all miss Matt. But we'll start with you, Tony. How are you? I mean, you got to answer the question, no?
No, I'm doing okay today, Brian.
All right, you're doing okay.
I mean, it's not raining, although it's gloomy.
I know this isn't going to help, but we do have to start with some breaking news.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Hold on one second. Oh, no. Oh, I got it.
Max Scherzer has been put on the 15-day injured list with some side tightness. So he left his last start, and they were expecting him to make his next one.
Wow.
But he does go on the 15-day IL, and Buck Showalter told reporters today that Scherzer is still experiencing irritation on his left side. So obviously a very, very big concern, and we'll go to you first, Tony. I mean, what do we got here?
Well, obviously you have something you do not want to hear, given the fact that, other Mets pitchers haven't really been doing very well. You're still waiting for like McGill to come back from the IL. Obviously your offense isn't doing well. At this point, you're tied up in the NL East with the Braves, for the race to first. So not a great time to be, having your kind of second pitcher here, your second ace, to be hitting the IL. But nonetheless, I mean, I guess, the Mets are thinking a bit longer term in terms of postseason. I mean, when you think about it, that side injury he had, which is obviously still lingering, it put him out of the season, put him out of the game for almost 2 months, I want to say it was. So obviously you don't want that to happen right now, as the postseason is kind of looming over the Mets here. So I suppose, whether it's precautionary, which is what they're kind of alluding to, I guess it's a good move, but I mean, this really couldn't come at a worse time. You really need Scherzer. I know, like you said, 15-day IL. His next start was supposed to be Friday, which I believe is the start against Miami. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you would have loved to have him to kind of, you have confidence in him to give up, just one run or less than that, So it's a disappointing time right now for Mets fans all around. And I mean, this coming out in the morning is a little gut-wrenching, dude.
Absolutely. And we're going to dive more into it.
Hey,
but
guys.
First, says hello. So it was
after
great.
His big debut yesterday.
Great talking with him on the phone yesterday. We're already talking about it, but let's just go to the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy-Yo, nada, where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right, Tony. So as we expected, Yankees get rained out yesterday. We'll have a doubleheader today. So we will get into that in a little bit. So with the Yankees off for the first time in quite some time, I want to say I watched maybe 80% of the Mets game last night, as they do fall 8-2 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So let's go to you, Tony, and just give us a synopsis of how we got there, what happened, and I'll chime in when I see fit.
Oh, I'm really glad you're going to chime in when you see fit, Brian. You're really feeling yourself with the coffee and the let's You're at the table today.
I would think there would be some type of bite or video that is about to happen. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But let's go ahead.
All right. Anyway, so Mets third loss in a row last night. I think, like, historically speaking, I don't think any team has lost 3 in a row against teams that are like in the bottom of the league. I'm not exactly sure the stat, but
like a first place team in September.
Yes, losing against like teams that are well under 500, 3 times in a row. That is, but I mean, I suppose that things kind of started off good. I guess. I mean, first inning you get 2 men on. I think Nimmo gets a good hit. I want to say Lindor is on base too. So you kind of start, wow, it's like, 2 men on, 1 out, top of the first. Mitch Keller's giving up hits. You're thinking like, okay, like we're gonna have offense all day. Pete Alonso grounds out, double play, innings over. And that happened again in the 3rd inning, actually.
Back-to-back at bats.
Back-to-back at bats that he grounds out in double play with runners first and second, 1 out. Like you're thinking, okay, like Alonso's up, like this is gonna be a 3-run blast. We're gonna go up 3-0, and we're gonna have that offense, bumping all day. But obviously, none of that happened. He grounded out twice, which is, I mean, he's been in a slump, and to see that happen twice is, again, like gut wrenching. And then on top of that, I mean, Walker just had a shit night. I mean, he went 5 innings, he had 4 earned runs, 2 walks, only 3 Ks off of 6 hits here. He threw 80 pitches, apparently complaining about some blister after the game. Like, oh, he has a blister in his hand, which is why the ball wasn't coming off right. And they're like, oh, is it going to be a problem? Oh, we're going to drain it. The staff here is great. It's going to be fine. Like fucking just bullshitting his way through this interview. But in reality, I mean, he sucked, dude. He fucking blew the game. He gave up, I want to say, what was that run? De Castro, I think, was a bomb.
Oh my God.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I think the exit velocity was like approaching 120.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And then on top of that, I mean, our defense was just so shoddy last night as well. We had balls going through the middle of the infield here. McNeil trying to make diving plays. Nimmo unable to, make a throw from the outfield. I mean, our arms in the outfield have been an issue for sure all season, which is why I wanted a good outfielder for the trade deadline, because Marte's our biggest arm, who has a good arm, but I mean, it's still not like phenomenal. It's not like he's like he has a ridiculous arm in the outfield. He can throw out someone home, not to mention, speaking of Marte, he gets hit in the left hand. I believe it was the left hand, ends up exiting the game. Darren Ruff comes in, which, I mean, basically since he's been on the team, he hasn't really done much. I guess he's just a body to have, I guess for when injuries are there. But I mean, when you think about it, between him, Naquin, and even Vogelback, who's significantly cooled off since he's kind of, I guess, first came to the Mets when he was hitting home runs here. But he still has a good eye at the plate, I suppose. But he is so annoyingly slow on the bases. I think he was on first base. Escobar had like a nice hit to like deep left or deep right.
2 outs too.
Yeah, 2 outs.
Oh, he's gonna hold up at second.
Yeah,
you never see that.
Never, dude. The guy is so slow, and we've seen it before too, where like he just cannot run or doesn't dig out a play to first base that could have, anyone else would be safe, really. So it's like, what the fuck, dude? Having him on the bases is basically a liability at this point. And it was just an all-around absolute shit show from the Mets last night. And it's obviously not what you expect. I mean, with a couple of hits, that you were able to get some runners on base, but then just, Alonso was just an absolute, momentum killer. And it's a shame because he had some nice defensive plays at first base. I think he had a nice diving catch. He had a couple of like line drives hit to him that he caught, very easily. But like if he was just able, like imagine if he had 2 3-run homers last night.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to imagine it.
Yeah.
My
God.
So and I think, listen, overall, you look at the numbers this year. I mean, he's been productive. No one's going to say that he hasn't been. But I do think, you look at it, 32 home runs, 106 RBIs, slugging 500, OPS 842. But just the fact that, he hasn't been the centerpiece of a Mets playoff team. And I mean, you look at him on this team, sure, there's Lindor, but I think, as you mentioned before, you thought he could really be the face of the Mets. He's got to be a leader. He's got to step up and he's got to get the guys to rally around him.
Oh, yeah.
So it just remains to be seen, how is he going to finish out the rest of this month? And I think that's going to really play a big part in, whether the Mets can win this division or if they're playing, in the wild card series.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, the Braves just are finding ways to win left and right. As we have a few comments.
Matthew checks in.
Matthew says, what up, boys?
Good to hear
Mets
from you, bud.
have a doubleheader today.
They do. I think 12:35 is the first one?
12:35, and I think 4:15.
Can I get my mic on?
It is now. Your headphones
Mike
aren't
is
plugged in.
Mike. Did you want to add something
I
before
can't
we
hear.
got to
We
prefer?
gotta get this. No, I just want to say what up. But my Matt, I just heard myself on here.
Oh, you did?
Because it's a little delayed.
Nice.
What were we just talking about?
You were just
Matt-
saying how the Mets are terrible. Is that what you're gonna say?
Oh, dude, it's so funny. Wait, we need Buffer to call. That's what I wanted to say first of all. I need Buffer to call.
There's no way he's going back-to-back days.
You don't think so?
No,
I mean,
dude.
maybe though, if Michael convinces him.
Oh, then
I don't
maybe
know if me and
Buffer.
Tony have.
I heard
Yeah.
Buffer, and I think he sounds educated and awesome.
He does.
And I would love to be his friend.
And he
so
threw a
call
singer
again.
at Brian too.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, love it.
Well, I honestly, I was fine with the zinger because I mean, look what happened with the Mets last night.
Yeah,
I
but,
think
no,
it kind of
but we
was.
predicted it. We called it, and the
We did.
Braves, you know,
We did. And
Everyone
they're like-
relax
they're
here,
like-
okay?
Yeah,
Pump the
no,
brakes.
because the one thing, and I know you know this too. Of course, at the end of the day, I get so excited to rub it into the Mets. I'm not gonna lie, but
Mhm.
I'm not lying when I say that. I mean, they really do have a better team. I mean, the only difference is the fact that, okay, if Scherzer and DeGrom are healthy, they're better than the Braves' top two. But it's not to say that's, that much of a discrepancy, but their offense, I mean, is 100 times better. I mean, there's just
The Braves.
yeah. I mean, literally 1 through 9, everybody's contributing. You look at the Mets. I mean, and then we didn't even mention the Starling Marte injury. Was there any update on that?
So far, any X-rays or tests they've done have come up negative, which is good, and
Okay.
that's all we're at right now.
And
Sorry, more comments to
yes.
get to here. But for offense needs to wake up. The Darren Ruff experiment must end, and if he doesn't improve, Mets must actually take advantage of their incredibly soft schedule. Bullpen management needs to be more aggressive. See, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Brian, but the bullpen management, I mean, it's just tough when your starters aren't giving you what you need.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like,
and you know what? The thing I would say, I mean, you could manage the bullpen all you want last night, but if Taijuan Walker is giving you 4 earned over 5,
that's not
you're
good.
probably not going to win.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
and,
like,
and you got to hit as well. But
yeah. But even so, dude, I mean, yeah, the bullpen is tough. I wouldn't necessarily blame Buck for the management. I mean, look who he's dealing with, too. I mean, and some of these guys, even the good guys, aren't like can't use them back-to-back days. They're kind of inconsistent. I mean, it sucks, dude.
But and I honestly think, listen, they don't have a deep bullpen, but they have a couple guys. I mean, Givens actually looked pretty good last night.
Yeah.
But like I've said many times, I and let's assume, Scherzer makes it back, DeGrom stays healthy. It's just going to come down to the offense. They have to score.
Right.
You cannot win baseball, especially playoff baseball games, when you don't score. It's that simple. So guys need to step up offensively.
Yeah, you're totally right. And then Matthew Gabriel, LOL, look at the agenda. Pumped for NFL. Rooting for the Orioles and Red Sox tonight, too. You guys heard Prefer's voice.
Yes. Roll back the tape. Last 5 to 10 minutes of yesterday's show, Prefer makes his debut on the phone. So that was obviously a good time. So nevertheless, you look at it with the Braves winning last night, obviously all tied up at the top of the division. So you must win these 2 games today that they have against the Pirates. I believe it's Chris Bassett and Jacob deGrom going.
Correct. Bassett first.
All right in front of you. One thing I wanted to add just kind of before we, looked at today's game is, and I know you look at the numbers and they're not there yet. He's adjusting. He's a younger player, but is it just me or is O'Neal Cruz going to be a star? 6'7" shortstop, power, speed.
Easily,
you see him score from second on that double?
Yeah. Did you see his dinger, dude?
Yo, I mean, unbelievable.
His
arm
is great. I mean, the swing he has is effortless. It's quick. It's simple. Like he's going to be a phenomenal ball player.
Yeah. So that's something, the Pirates have to look forward to. They haven't had much to look forward to of recent. So definitely have a star in the making there. And then the only other thing I was going to say, we touched on Walker here. It's kind of a shame because it's just, they've dealt with some injuries. Obviously, Scherzer going on the injury list now. I think, honestly, if everybody was healthy, they would possibly put him in the bullpen, but they just don't have a choice. They need someone to give him innings.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone's healthy and maybe when McGill comes back, he'll be able to get some length. Even at this point, like Peterson may even be a better starter.
I think so.
So, I mean, should be interesting to see when that happens. I mean, think about it. If you have McGill who can be consistent, but even just throwing Walker into the bullpen, I mean, is that enough for the bullpen?
I mean, I just think
it helps, obviously, but
he is a train wreck August and September. I mean, there's just evidence of it. He just, whatever reason, I guess he wears down. He's trying to blame a blister, but he's just not giving them what they need. And you thought, he had a couple bad starts. You figured, okay, against Pittsburgh, he'd rebound, but obviously just wasn't the case last night. And I do believe Buffer has a couple of predictions.
He says hitting is contagious. Mets win first game 15-0. Mets win second game 12-1.
27-1 in 2 games, scoring 27 runs.
Which, I mean, I don't know about that one, Buffer, because you have Bassett giving up no runs, and I guess maybe the bullpen gave up a run in the second game, but whatever, dude.
Yankees and Mets doubleheaders. When has that ever happened? That's crazy. It hasn't happened too much. I could definitely not that much, but very good insight.
So just want to just go home and crack open a beer and drink and watch baseball the whole day.
I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. Yankees got to wait a little bit. I think their first one is 3:05.
Yeah, 3-7.
Go Herman. I guess it's a single admission, so there's no set time, but you would imagine, it would be,
probably around
7.
there.
So that being said, Tony, we are going to look forward to today, and just wanted to update everybody on the pick segment. So we got one more day, obviously today, and right now I am 34-20. You are 33-22. So right down to the wire. Once again, we go. And by default, I'll have the Yankees twice today, making up for that pick, from yesterday.
So you're going to pick 5, I pick 4?
Yeah. And obviously, so really it's just picking 3 because obviously the Yankees. But that being said, let's get started here. We know we have the Mets ×2. So kind of, if you could give us a more realistic prediction than prefer here in terms of what's going to happen on the field today.
Yeah, dude, why not? Okay, so I'm thinking first game, obvious dub. I'm taking the Mets both. You want me to talk about both games so far?
Yeah. We do. I think we have someone videoing in.
I don't know. I don't think Mike wants to come in. I think
he's just
he's
chilling.
spectating. He's spectating from the
Michael,
outside.
are you chilling? Can you give us a head nod at least?
You want to come in?
Is it a head nod? Are you just chilling? Chilling. Okay, he's chilling.
Yeah. Okay, dude. All right. So game 1.
Bless you, Renee, by the way. Tony, I mean, where are your manners these days?
I didn't hear her, honestly. I don't know how you heard.
Renee, don't you think he heard you? He is. Oh, no, that was just a tease, I guess. All right.
Anyway, dude. So, okay. So first game, right? Chris Bassett, we got. I'm thinking a good lengthy outing from him. I'm thinking 7 innings, honestly. Maybe 2 or 3 earned runs, realistically. We've seen what type of length he can give the Mets, but we've seen him make a few mistakes. And even though it's the Pirates, they could capitalize. We mentioned about, some of the young talent they have. But nonetheless, kind of giving our bullpen the chance to take it easy. And I'm thinking, honestly, off the rip second inning, Alonso, solo dinger, cobwebs off, feeling back to his good old self.
When was the last time he homered?
Jesus, I don't know. He's like
2 weeks.
Yeah, mate, at least. He's like 4 for his last 30, I think, something like that.
Jesus.
Has really been in a terrible slump. But because of that, dude, I'm telling you, cobwebs off. And I prefer saying hitting is contagious. I'll give McNeil another dinger, Nimmo an RBI double, Vogelback 2 walks, good eye on the plate. That's what we want him for. Hopefully, maybe he jogs a little bit better on the bases today. But I would say Mets take this one. I'm gonna say 5-1.
5 runs would be nice.
5 runs would be nice
to start.
Now, do you want to wait for the second one?
Oh, no, go right
in double headers.
And just I may add, I think that 5 runs are crucial because the past 3 games they've scored 4 runs. So to get 5 runs today,
yeah.
First game kind of ease the tension that is there, with that lead no longer in the division. So what do we got for game 2?
All right, so game 2, DeGrom on the mound. I mean, talk about feeling confident, feeling good. DeGrom should be just absolutely rolling through the lineup here for Pittsburgh. Someone like him, I mean, you're surprised when he gives up 1 earned run. So today I'm going to say same length, 7 innings. Maybe I'll give him like 95 pitches. Buck obviously still monitoring his pitch count, and in a game like this where it's 7 innings of no earned runs, give me 9-10 Ks, no walks, maybe 2 hits, just an absolute normal DeGrom gem. leading by example here as to why he's the best pitcher in baseball. And then on top of that, I'm going to say Alonso goes 2 for 4, continuing that hit streak, two singles, maybe one RBI single here. Lindor, a dinger there. And I would say the Mets take this one. Let's say 3-0.
Conservative,
yeah.
Trumpets
for sure.
on the road. Do they go trumpets on the road?
Definitely not. But Diaz still closes the door. And I would say scoring 7 runs in 2 games right now is exactly where we want to be. Giving up 2 or 3, it's great.
And Tony, you've always been somebody, who's kind of like to mess with me in terms of the whole jinx thing. Any concern about the jinx of the trumpet, honestly? Because this did start when that came into play.
I mean, did it really though?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was right after. Well, it was during the Dodgers, I suppose, right? It was a Dodgers game when they had the trumpet.
Right.
And then they won the next game. Yeah, no, I don't think so. No way.
All right. I'm just saying.
This doesn't fit, dude. Doesn't fit. A couple comments before we get to the Yankees here. Matthew, have a beer, have 12.
Pretty aggressive for a Wednesday,
yeah. Hey, Michael calling out, prefer to call in. I would say this is the time. I need some backup for the Mets talk, dude. Speak things into existence with the law of attraction.
Sounds like a joke.
The 2022 World Series and 2023. Whoa, dude.
Prefer getting way.
I mean, if there's one thing, Michael knows, it's the law of attraction. So, I mean.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
Yeah, he knows.
Can you finish your sentences at least, Michael?
He knows if there's a New York team winning the 2022 World Series, it's not the Mets. Let's just say that.
Well, if it's not the Mets, it's gonna be no New York team. Everyone knows that.
Anyhow.
Yeah, let's talk about the team that has had the worst summer in all of baseball.
That has a 4.5 game lead versus no lead. But
cool,
anyway,
that's fine.
So we do have a 305.
Wait, 4.5? Wasn't it like 5 yesterday or something?
Well, yeah, because it didn't play.
Wasn't it like 16 like a little while ago?
I mean, I don't know. It's just
you
me.
know.
I would rather have a lead than not have one, but I don't know. That's up to you.
It's
about the whole season, not about a sample size. But anyway, so doubleheader against the Twins. We know, I think it's a 720 winning percentage against them since 2020, since 2002. All right, Tony. So as you get the chuckles in. But anyway, so 305, Louis Varland, the Twins' #1 pitching prospect, making his debut here against Domingo Germán. We saw the Yankees win game 1, on Monday, 5-2. And, it was nice. They had some contributions from guys that they didn't expect, in terms of IKF with a home run, as well as Marwin Gonzalez. Obviously, Anthony Rizzo was placed on the injured list, some headache and back issues. So in comes Ronald Guzman, who way back when, I think it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken, hit 3 home runs at Yankee Stadium. So he's a big lefty presence. I'm sure he'll play one of the games, and I think this is really the time. I really hope that they play Oswald Peraza both of these games. He's only had 8 at-bats since being recalled. Still looking for that first major league hit. So I think that'll be big. And I think, let's see the young guys. I mentioned that yesterday. Obviously, we didn't have a game, but you want to see the Cabreras, the Perazzas, the Florials. Florial's the guy, they really keep tugging him around. I mean, almost it's worse than Andujar, really, because at least when Andujar's here, it seems like they do play him, but it's just like, I think Florial could be pretty good. I mean, he's a very athletic center fielder. He's big, too, so you'd expect, if he has some consistent at-bats, maybe some power will come up. But when I just look at this game, I think the Yankees are going to take advantage of a young pitcher here with no major league experience. Obviously, despite the injuries that they have, they still have a lot of veterans in the lineup. I haven't heard anything on Stanton, but even if he doesn't play, I think there's still enough juice in this lineup to take care of the Twins here. And then Domingo Germán, I mean, that ERA is at 3.12, and really had pitched great against the Rays, up until that home run, I believe in the 7th inning. Back on Friday. So I expect him to have another strong performance. Let's call it 6 innings, 2 earned runs, maybe 8 strikeouts, 4 hits, no walks. And I want to say offensively, I think Judge gets number 55. The home fans will be riled up for that one. And then also let's have Peraza 3 for 4 in this first game here, picking up his first 3 major league hits, 2 doubles and a single. Oswaldo Cabrera with his first major league home run. And then
That's
Gleyber
too high.
Torres has got to hit a home run. I mean,
No
it
way.
has been so long. He's looked like the worst player in the major leagues since the All-Star break. So if you couple all of that,
You're not doing your job.
I think he does his job here. And I'm going to say Yankees 7, Twins 3 as they pick up game 1 of this single admission doubleheader. So obviously the second game, I guess they're slotting it for 6:35, but obviously that's dependent on how long the first game goes. We got Joe Ryan, who's actually 10-7, 3.86. So he's had a pretty good year. A pitcher, you don't really hear much about, going up against Garrett Cole, 10-7, 3.28.
Gentleman Jack.
He's been pretty good of late. I think really the one thing that gets him into trouble is the home run ball. But against a team like the Twins, I mean, really not too many power hitters. You look at up and down this roster. Carlos Correa not really having the year he expected, and he's still expected to opt out after this season because I think long term, I don't think he has a vision of
Complete
being
inconfidence.
Minnesota Twin. But this has got to be vintage Cole, and I know
need it more than anything
it's
right now.
doubleheader. It's a lot to ask to have 2 dominant games, but I think this is the time. I mean, I really do. And, with the Rays winning the last couple of nights, like I said, 4.5. But if we win these 2 games, they lose, we'll be back up to 6. And I think that's where we need to be. So give me Garrett Cole today, 7 innings, 14 strikeouts.
I need it more than anything right now.
5 hits, 2 runs, and 1 walk as he picks up his 11th victory of the year. I want to say offensively here, let's go judge a double dip, number 56 here in the second
Sayonara
game of the doubleheader. As well as, TJ LeMahieu, he hasn't had a big game in a little bit. I want to say he goes 3 for 5, including a home run. I don't even remember the last time he hit a home run. So this one a little bit lower scoring, but I'm going to say Yankees 5, Twins 3, Clay Holmes 1, 2, and 3, striking out the side on the 9th inning to sweep this doubleheader. And I really am getting my confidence back in Clay Holmes. And actually, that's the jersey I'm wearing right now. And I think he's going to be big because
Frank Thomas?
Should we go comments?
I said Frank Thomas.
Oh, Frank Thomas. I can't believe that I still have forgotten to bring in that jersey because it's just sitting in my room, not doing it. Where's it going to go, though? Honestly, do we have a spot?
We'll find a spot for the jersey, dude.
All right. Yeah.
Of course, we have a spot.
Yeah.
Maybe in the corner. Maybe
trash.
Maybe a quick reminder one of these days, and I'll definitely remember. But that being said, it's all right in front of you. Take these 2. Let's take the one tomorrow. Let's sweep the Twins, and then really huge series against the Rangers. I know it's like, what music do we have going on here?
We have the classic Knowlton lobby music.
Oh, okay. I thought you were playing that. Anyway, listen,
Dude,
I know
come on.
Tampa this weekend is going to be tough, but we are at home. And I know, it seems like, 4-game sweep. Am I getting ahead of myself here?
Yes.
But this is where they hit their stride. And I think guys are due to step up. And I think it's all right in front of them, and they're going to do it. And I really can't wait to see these young guys have an impact on these few games. It's going to be great. And who knows? Maybe Ronald Guzman. I know I didn't predict it, but maybe, he plays game 2, runs into one to right. He's comfortable with that porch in right field. So let's just see, Tony, what happens. But I have the Yankees taking both of these games and getting started off in a way that they need to win the first 3 games of this series. But let's see what happens.
Well, let's bring in Michael here because there's a comment that Befur had directed towards Michael. Actually, Michael says, Barnes won't like when I call in and ask Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie Irving questions.
Anything, Michael.
Oh, Michael.
My mic is unmuted. Okay, Befur, you have to call in. First of all, great assessment there on the Yankees there. My expertise on them is that they will continue this 2-game winning streak and extend it to 4 games here today. And, DJ has been in a little bit of a slump, but I think this will be the day. Second game, he's going to hit a 3-run homer to really set the momentum forward.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And LeMahieu, a true
you, Michael.
warrior, playing through that toe injury. So
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
the Yankees appreciate his versatility. He's not going on the injured list for nothing. So let's just say that. But we got a couple more picks to make here, Tony. So
Oh, yes, my
if you would.
apologies. We'll get through them here. Don't worry, Michael. So my next pick is going to be, believe it or not, Atlanta, dude. They are still in Oakland. What's his name? Ken Waldichuk, former
Yes.
Yankee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to get absolutely shellacked. I feel like he had a start maybe against Washington.
He walked 4 batters.
Yeah. And against Washington, I think he went only 4 innings too. I mean, when you think about the Braves, look at it last night. Kyle Wright kind of laid an egg last night. Only lasted 4 innings. Gave up, I think, I don't even know, 5 earned runs, 6 maybe. Oakland scored 9 runs, which is something you rarely say. But the Braves kind of buckled down. The bullpen comes in, locks it down, and the lineup just keeps absolutely raking. They scored 10 runs to end up winning 10-9. So the lineup is on fire. What are they on, like an 8-game winning streak right now? It's
Something
absolutely
like that,
ridiculous. They keep finding ways to win. And I think what their bullpen did yesterday, even though it was against Oakland, it's so impressive. I think between 6 guys, it was, or maybe 5, but it was like a perfect bullpen, dude. It was crazy. And again, the lineup to score 10 runs, overcome adversity of Kyle Wright, who gave up runs early. We talk about how, when your starting pitcher comes out there first inning, giving up hits and stuff, it's demeaning. You're watching that in the field there, and then the pressure's on to score. And in the face of that pressure, the Braves scored. And we're talking about Oakland here too. Spencer Strider, who, regardless of his ridiculous comments, is a good pitcher. I think he's, the last 5 innings, nothing has been, everything's been 6 innings, 1 or 2 earned runs. You expect the same out of him tonight. I would expect even better, 6 innings, no earned runs, maybe like 8 Ks. And then, usual suspects, which is everyone in the lineup hitting very well. I would say the Braves take this one. And it could get a little ugly here. I would say 9-1, 9-2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think, Kenny boy is going to get shellacked. We've seen the young guys come up. I understand he was highly touted, but I don't think he's ready for this Braves lineup at all, dude.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good spot, but I do think, and obviously it pains me to say this, but I do think he's actually going to be pretty good. The stuff is there. Might have to be a reliever, but he has electric stuff. But obviously we'll get a chance here to see what he has to offer, but hard to argue with that pick. And I'm kind of going against the grain here.
Let's go, Brian.
Just kind of a law of averages things. The Rays have just been winning too much. So give me Nick Pivetta over Jeffrey Springs at the Trop, 640. Obviously the Red Sox struggling here now, 3 games under 500. However, I just think, they're due to get it going offensively. Maybe, Bogarts and Devers each have a home run. Pivetta, this Rays lineup definitely struggles to score at times, despite having a couple, talented guys. Mainly, who you look at, of course, is Randy Arozarena. But Yandy Diaz, comes up big at times as well. But nevertheless, I think Pivetta, gives them 6 scoreless, striking out 9. And the Red Sox are going to win this one 4-1, and doing the Yankees a favor here.
Nice, dude. Nice. My next pick is going to be the St. Louis Cardinals. Do you know why, Brian? Because Jordan Montgomery's on the mound tonight, and they're playing the Nationals. I understand, Nationals maybe, did kind of well against the Mets, but in reality, it's really the Mets who lost those games. Jesus, like who Eric Fetty and I don't even know who the other pitcher was, but regardless, Corey Abbott on the mound for the Nationals. I mentioned Montgomery. He's been absolutely on fire for the Cardinals. Making the Yankees look like idiots for getting rid of him. You got to love that. And then, in terms of their offense, it's been obviously producing most of the season. They just lost last night to the Cardinals 4-1. And before that, St. Louis swept the Cubs. They're doing well against teams they should be winning against. So I'd say with Monty on the mound, St. Louis wins this. I don't know, maybe like 4-1.
Yeah. Definitely like that one. Yeah, I think he's 5-0 since joining the Cardinals. So I'm going to go to an AL East matchup here, actually at Camden Yards, and the Orioles fighting to get that 3rd wild card spot, going going up against the Blue Jays. And this is actually a good pitching matchup. We've talked about Alex Manoah in length, and he's hit a rough patch a couple weeks ago, but really kind of seemed to right the ship now. You look at the overall numbers here, 13-7, 2.48, going to go up against Dean Creamer, who's actually pitched pretty well. If you look at the game logs, his last couple times out. So I do think what will happen here is both guys are going to pitch well, and I hope they pitch well because they're both on my fantasy baseball teams and really, really need to win this week to advance in the playoffs. So I want to say, maybe they each go 6 innings, each give up 2 runs. Maybe Manoah has 9 strikeouts, Creamer has 7. Let's say it's 2-2 after 6. And then I think you're going to get Bo Bichette, who actually hit 3 home runs last week, will get in the mix, hitting a 2-run homer, and the Blue Jays hang on to win 4-3 here. And take this game from the Orioles. And I got one more pick, obviously, with the weighted picks here with the rain out yesterday. So let's see. So for my last pick here, I'm actually going to go to the NL East here. And we have the Phillies hosting the Miami Marlins.
I smell a rat.
And we got a guy that actually was on my fantasy team, but I ended up dropping him last week because I had too many spots here.
That's too
Bailey
high.
Falter. Now, if you look at the numbers, Tony, 3-3, 4.08, and I don't think he's pitched against the Mets this year, right?
No,
as far as you know.
No.
But the last couple of times out has really been pretty solid. You look at it in an 18-2 victory over the Diamondbacks. We went 6 1/3, 5 hits. 1 run, 6 strikeouts, and then the previous start against the Pirates, 6 hits, 5 hits, 3 runs, and 6 strikeouts. And then the previous 2 starts prior to that, actually, he did face the Mets. He actually went 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 strikeouts to beat them. And then the start before that, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts against the Pirates. So we've seen some sustainability here, and obviously, reaching that 6-inning mark. The last 4 starts to give that Phillies bullpen a break is big. And I just think, we talked about it with the Marlins. I think they're just kind of packed it in for the season. So I could see Falter having 10 strikeouts tonight, over 6 1/3. And I want to say the Phillies here, Kyle Schwarber's got a homer. And I think Harper might hit one as well. So give me the Phillies here 5-1 as they beat the Marlins. So this will be it, Tony. So last day of the pick segment. So obviously a lot on the line.
Technically, right now
I'm up by a half game. Is that how it would work?
I guess.
Or a game and a half?
Game and a half.
Because you're down 2 in the loss column and I'm up 1 in the win column.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I have 1 extra game. So yeah,
1 extra game. Yeah, we'll call it 1.5. But can't wait. It's nice that it's a close finish because some of them have been close, but there's been a couple ones where one of us has struggled.
Like at this point, we've been like 4 or 5 games separated.
It's like Hail Mary. We're picking every game going on tonight, but we don't have to do that, which is nice. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and obviously we know how important these games are for both the Yankees and the Mets here. But as we promised, with opening night tomorrow, we are going to go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay.
How about that throw?
Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit?
In trouble once, brings him down. Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
Wow. So a great new video to start out the season. And I'm just excited. I know, Tony, you've had some nepotism with the NFL before, but I feel like now that, this has been a highly, followed and contested baseball season, you're okay with it because, despite the NFL coming back, despite the attention it gives, we're still going to give baseball its due. And the Mets are obviously in a pennant race here. So
I guess, did you say nepotism?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're always trying out new phrases here.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to do our division previews and playoff predictions here.
Oh, wow.
So let's start in the home of the New York Jets, the AFC East here. So obviously Buffalo winning the division last year, and the Patriots qualifying as a wild card. Miami just missing out, and of course the Jets bringing up the rear as they've done of recent. So just if you would, Tony, 1 through 4, give me your order of finish here in the AFC East.
Okay, I'm gonna say, I mean, obviously Bills first, right?
Yep.
I want to say Patriots, then Jets, Miami.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you think Tyreek Hill coming to Miami doesn't really make the impact everyone's hoping?
No.
First year coach Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, adjustment period. Definitely early on. I feel like maybe a couple of losses that they're going to come back later in the season with. And I don't know. I feel like I feel the Jets are going to surprise some people. And I feel like the Patriots, as always, are going to be consistent, be pretty good. Jones has some more experience under his belt. I think he'll be better too.
And I think what's interesting too. You mentioned Miami adjustment period. We've seen Hill get heated on the sidelines at times before, and obviously he's happy being in South Beach and having that new contract. I believe it was 4 years, $120 million. But I think he's gonna get tight with Tua because he's used to Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball down the field, and I don't know if Tua is capable of doing that. So I am gonna go the Bills winning the division, and I know it sounds too chalkish, but they are just by far the most talented team. Josh Allen is poised to win an MVP, and he obviously wants to reach the Super Bowl. But obviously he's got a lot of work to do from now until then. But they're winning the division. I want to say the Dolphins, though, despite the adjustment period, I think will finish second. There's a lot of other talent on that team. I love what they have at the wide receiver position with Jalen Waddle as well as Parker and Mike Gesicki at tight end. And then I'm going to say Jets third. Probably are going to be right down to the wire in it for that last wild card spot, but just not have enough. But I think they'll win 8 games, so 8 and 9. And Zach Wilson, we're going to say 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards passing, which would be a monumental step forward.
Legend.
And I want to say Garrett Wilson goes all rookie first team with 1,200 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. So a good way to get started for him. And then, the Patriots have looked awful on offense this preseason. Bill Belichick, kind of like how Brady's do to fall off a cliff. I think this is a very humbling year for him. He thinks he could just wing this, having former Giants head coach Joe Judge and former Patriots defensive coordinator, Lions head coach Matt Patricia calling the plays. I mean, he's the defensive guy. That is a disaster waiting to happen, and they just don't have the skill players to get this done. Some talent at tight end, but nothing at receiver. So I think they finish, let's call it 6-11, and maybe some rumors about Belichick leaving New England after the year. We will see. So on to the AFC North. You look at this division, obviously, after a really good start and, fading down the stretch, I think the Bengals won, but the Pittsburgh, was in the wild card. Nevertheless, we know the Ravens hot start, injuries, Jackson misses some games, and then we know the disappointment that Cleveland was last year. So who do you have? What's your order of finish here, Tony? AFC North.
Okay. AFC North. I guess give me the Bengals to win it. I mean, if Lamar stays healthy, I would say Baltimore second, then Steelers, then Cleveland. I think Steelers, talked about Trubinsky yesterday. I think there's a shot that he could be decent enough. And I think, the Steelers do have some young receivers they can kind of target and everything like that. I think they can be good offensively, hopefully not being so, one-sided. Who's their running back right now?
Steelers?
Yeah.
Najee Harris, but he's got a Liz Frank thing he's coming back from.
He
was great last year, but bad offensive line. Chokery with the insight on the Steelers, being a big fan.
Right. And Renee.
And Renee. How can I forget? He's not expecting much out of them. But I think, they'll be competitive. I mean, Mike Tomlin, since he's been the head coach in 2007, no losing seasons. So, But yeah, so when I look at this, I think actually, after a strong preseason, of course, 22 games in a row, I think it is for the Ravens in the preseason. I think they're so much healthier this year. You got the return of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I think that's going to be big, not to mention a strong draft, including Notre Dame safety Kyle Hamilton. So I think they win a division. I want to see the Bengals finish second, Pittsburgh third, Cleveland fourth, and Cleveland, will look decent once Deshaun Watson comes back. But the only problem is that's not till week 13. So having Jacoby Brissett, we saw the mediocrity he displayed when he was in Indy. I think there's a repeat of that. The Bengals, I know everyone's saying, oh, they look great, but there's always some type of Super Bowl hangover. So I think they finish in, the wild card here. And then, Pittsburgh, new quarterback, Big Ben being there since 2004, that's a big adjustment. So I think they'll hover around 500, probably go 9-8, keeping that streak alive. And then the Browns, I think it's going to be maybe 7-10 at the best. We'll see. Cause I think, those 11 games without Deshaun Watson, they could go 3-8. So let's see what happens. On to the South. We got the Texans, we got the Titans, we got the Colts, and we got the Jags. And of course, the Titans, only playoff team, number 1 seed in the AFC last season. The Colts obviously bringing in Matt Ryan at quarterback. What do we have here, Tony?
Okay, I'm going to say off the rip, Titans win the division. Breakout player Julius Chestnut. Are you familiar with him? Running back, undrafted.
No. I mean, that's digging deep, Tony.
Yeah. He went to Sacred Heart University. He was running back for us, breaking records left and right. Wow. Phenomenal runner. People knew he was going to the NFL by his senior year. And he did. He made the Tennessee. He's been looking really good in the preseason and everything like that. He is a monster of a running back, and I think he's going to have a nice breakout, kind of under the radar year here, and help the Titans win the division. After that, I guess I give him the Colts. Matt Ryan, maybe a little bit of the juice left to squeeze out of his career. Change of scenery, maybe with the Colts, makes a little bit of a surprising adjustment to them. And then I guess maybe Texans in third, Jaguars in last. Lawrence wants out.
Oh, wow. All right. So I'm going to go Colts winning the division. I think Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz. I mean, that is just a massive improvement for them. Love their running game, of course, with Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman will have a great year. I think Pierce, the receiver they got from Cincinnati, there's some hype surrounding him as well. I think the Jags, surprisingly enough, finished second in this division. I think Trevor Lawrence, with a competent head coach like Doug Peterson, who's won a Super Bowl, has a great year. They welcome the return of Travis Etienne, so they get that wild card spot. Titans, a disappointing 8-9 season. Of course, Derrick Henry, the wear and tear really does him in. And then they struggle with the loss of AJ Brown. Robert Woods, not quite good enough. And then, the Texans, Davis Mills looked okay last year. It doesn't matter. They finished last. On to the most competitive division of
Where'd
football.
you have Jacksonville? Third?
Jacksonville is second.
Second.
Titans third, Texans fourth.
No way.
On to the AFC West here. So arguably the most competitive division in NFL history. We have the Raiders, obviously adding Devontae Adams. Denver bringing in Russell Wilson. We know what the Chiefs are despite losing Tyreek Hill. And then the Chargers, of course, with Justin Herbert. So really tough to predict this one. But if you may, Tony.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make a little bit of prediction here. I think I'm going to go Raiders winning the division. I know.
Wow.
I think Derek Carr finally I guess sort of gets his break, none of this off the field malarkey that happened during the regular season with, obviously with Gruden and who is the receiver? Higgs?
Oh yeah, Higgs. Yep.
Higgs, right, at the DUI stuff. None of that nonsense. Derek Carr is focused, doesn't have any stupid injuries, stays healthy, is consistent, smart. And I think with that, with no background noise, I think he could really be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And then following him, I'm gonna say, and obviously how competitive this division is, it's gonna be very tight. I'll say the Chargers, honestly, in second. Justin Herbert, we see how his kind of young talent came in, doing really well, and he's, I think, matured a lot for an NFL quarterback for being so young. I think he's someone who's a little bit overlooked, at least to the typical NFL fan. And then maybe Kansas City, the loss of Hill, they'll definitely feel that. Mahomes, I don't know if he's going to be running around. I feel like his offensive line wasn't that great for him in the postseason. Um, they had I feel like a pretty good fall from grace, right? During the season, they started out really hot, tail end wasn't that great.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, that's not any, I feel like, allusion to what a championship team is like. And in the last place, I guess I give Denver. I mean, I don't think Wilson, even though the change of scenery, I don't know how much he has left in him, dude.
It's crazy.
Honestly.
It's crazy the fall from grace in
Mhm.
regards to Russell Wilson. So I am gonna say here, this is real tough, but
It is, right?
I'm gonna go Kansas City again. I know like what you said, and obviously Hill's a big loss, but rookie Sky Moore from, I believe it's Western Michigan, will have a big impact. And then former Packer receiver Marquez Valdez Scantling, I think will pay dividends. We know the type of player that Travis Kelce is. It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he is amazing. He's probably the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play. So I think they win the division. I think a close second is going to be the Chargers. Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, just to name a couple of, the offensive threats. Obviously, Keenan Allen as well. I think they're loaded. Brandon Staley, though, a wild card at head coach, never punting, going for it on fourth down. That could cost them, but I think Herbert is balling. So at the end of the day, they'll get a wild card. And I think the Raiders finished third. I want to say the Raiders, let's call it 10-7 here, getting that last wild card spot. And I think Devontae Adams, 1,600 yards receiving here. Despite obviously, a lot of attention on him, they have Darren Waller, they have Renfro, who had over 1,000 yards last year, and him and Carr displaying that chemistry when they played together at Fresno State. And then the Broncos, good running game, good defense, but Wilson, like you said, I mean, just has not looked himself. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period with first year head coach Nathaniel Hackett. So they'll finish like 9-8, but no playoffs. So disappointing. I think it'll be the seventh straight year out of the playoffs for the Denver Broncos. On to the NFC here, NFC East. We know we got Dallas, who won the division last year, tanked in the playoffs as always. The Giants, the Eagles, and the Washington Commanders with their first season in the NFL here, technically speaking. What do you have?
Oh, God. It's a shit show of a division here. I guess give me the Cowboys to win it.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones, we know he wants to win.
He wants to win.
He wants to win, dude. I feel like Dak, we mentioned, obviously a little bit of a, as always, lackluster performance in the playoffs. But people thought they were going to go pretty far. I feel like Zeke, who I think last season had like a little bit of an issue with the Cowboys in general, right? In terms of being on their team.
I mean, it's just one of those things. These running backs, once they show the sign of decline, and then he's got Tony Pollard breathing down his neck,
right?
Not to mention that he traded Amari Cooper to the Browns in the offseason. Michael Gallup coming back from the ACL.
Interesting. Cooper, I feel like should have kept him, but
yeah.
Anyway, I feel like Zeke will, have maybe a little bit of a better attitude into this season. I'm sure he's been working with Tony a little bit, and Pollard, who's also like a great running back, dude. They're gonna have a really solid running game, and I think Dak, certainly maybe hopefully learning from his mistake that he made in the playoffs last season. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, look at the rest of the competition. There's no doubt the Cowboys are gonna, I think, win this division. After Dallas, I guess give me the Eagles. I guess, and then Washington and then the Giants.
Yeah, I agree there. But a little shakeup at the top for me. I'm actually going to go with the Eagles. Bringing AJ Brown, that can't be understated. I like Jalen Hurts. There is some skepticism about how good of a NFL quarterback he can be, but the mobility, the arm strength, I like what he brings to the table. I think Miles Sanders, who had some struggles last year, but I think he's a solid running back. I think he'll be just fine. And then second-year wide receiver Devonta Smith, I think, is very talented. So I think they'll have a good passing game, good run game, a decent defense. So they win a division. Dallas will give them a wild card, but just kind of a weird offseason. When you lose Amari Cooper. And then you got Gallup coming back, and you don't really add anybody, and then you have an incompetent coach like Mike McCarthy. So I guess 10-7, just by the weakness of the final two teams in the division. And I think Washington, Carson Wentz, we saw him fade with the Colts down the stretch. They lose to Jacksonville. Last game of the season, don't get in the playoffs. Now he goes to Washington. I mean, I like Antonio Gibson. I like Terry McLaurin. We'll see how Chase Young comes back from the ACL. But I think you're still looking at a 6-win team at best here. And then the New York Giants, kind of like the New York Mets for football for me. Always enjoy, kind of rubbing it in there. And listen,
it's funny because many people say that about the Jets. They're kind of the Mets.
No. Hey, the Jets have not been good. I'll be the first one to admit that.
All right, so you can't throw any shade then,
but
dude.
Anyhow, Tony, I like Daboll.
Yankees were summer baseball.
I like Joe Shane at GM, but the problem is Dave Gettleman did so much damage that, despite bringing in Thibodeau in the first round, that was nice. But they just, they're stuck with Kenny Golladay, at wide receiver. Biggest cap hit of a receiver in the NFL. Absolutely trash. Hasn't had a touchdown yet. And they signed him to this big $80 million contract last year. Daniel Jones is a joke. I know they brought in Tyrod Taylor. Saquon Barkley may be out for the season by week 6. So I think the New York Giants, despite bringing some, good guys for the regime, the play on the field is just not there this year, despite having some confident guys. But I think they're going to win 3 games and be in contention for the number 1 pick. So that'll be interesting. And then on to the NFC North, which I really don't see much competition here. I mean, the Bears are a joke, despite bringing in Matt Eberflus. We know what the Packers are, despite losing Devontae Adams. The Lions with Campbell, they got Goff at quarterback, brought in some decent other players, and then the Minnesota Vikings. You think about first-year head coach Kevin O'Connell, but we know what Kirk Cousins can and cannot do. So with all that being said, what do you think here, Tony?
All right. Well, I mean, you said not much competition, right? I guess give me Green Bay. I feel like Cousins.
I mean, in this division, I think too, and then obviously Jefferson is great. Cook is great.
Right.
They expect Thielen to bounce back. So there is some talent there.
Minnesota, second.
Yep.
And then I guess
you're going
give
with
me
a couple
Detroit.
extra espresso shots.
Yeah,
Campbell.
Yeah. Give me with the extra caffeine for the season. He's been loading up. Give me Detroit. And then Chicago in last place.
Does Campbell make it through the year?
Like without any heart attacks or anything?
No, without getting fired.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Because I mean, I think that his heart's in the right place, but I just feel like I don't know if and of course a bad season is a bad season, but just the way he handled himself, maybe just even at press conferences, I don't know if it was quite the way he should have started.
Not very professional.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But of course, we know Green Bay, class of the division, despite obviously, losing Adams. They bring in Sammy Watkins. We were talking about this last night. I mean, I think, he could make an impact, not a Devontae Adams impact, but some type of impact. So I think Rodgers always works with, what he has. Minnesota by default, will finish second, get a wild card here. And then I guess I agree with you wholeheartedly here. Detroit, I think just has a more talented roster than Chicago. So, I like what they do in the run game with, Swift and then the former running back from the Packers, Williams. So I think, they'll be a nice 1-2 punch. They did, bring in a receiver in the draft as well. So there is some talent there. Oh yeah, it was Jameson Williams from Alabama, the receiver who tore his ACL in the college football playoff last year. And then the Bears. I mean, just a joke of a team here. I don't know why with second-year quarterback Justin Fields that you go with a defensive coordinator in Matt Eberflus to be your head coach. And I just think David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, they will probably score the least amount of points in the National Football League. And just like the Giants, be in contention for that number 1 pick. Onto the NFC South. We got Carolina, obviously Matt Rule on the hot seat. In comes Baker Mayfield. Can Christian McCaffrey stay healthy? All questions to be answered. You look at the Falcons, they say goodbye to Matt Ryan. Of course, they have, ascending tight end Kyle Pitts. Marcus Mariota, kind of a stopgap until Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati is ready to play. You look at New Orleans, they bid farewell to Sean Payton. Give Jameis Winston another shot at starting quarterback, after the ACL tear last year. Michael Thomas looks to be healthy for the first time in 3 years. And then you also bring in Jarvis Landry. We know about the Bucks, obviously Brady with the unretirement. So that's going to be interesting to see after missing some time, losing some linemen, what's going to happen there. So kind of a division up for grabs here. How do you see it?
I don't think the division is so much up for grabs as Brian so nicely puts it. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this division pretty easily, to be honest. I think Brady still, regardless of the line, I think he's great at working the pocket, getting the ball out quick, regardless of who's coming at him. I think the time off isn't really going to mean much. I mean, you know how much of a competitor this guy is. He's ready, certainly mentally and physically, to be a quarterback in the NFL. If he didn't want to, then, I mean, obviously he wouldn't be doing it, right? So the Tampa Bay takes this division. I guess the Saints in second. And then Carolina, maybe Baker. You never know, dude.
Never know.
Bounce back season. I think him and Dawn, I think are going to do well together, to be honest. Maybe, run a nice 1-2 punch here, for the Panthers and, creating that competitiveness that Baker kind of needs behind him. Like, hey, your spot isn't solidified at all. And then, and I guess Atlanta to be in the last place here.
Arthur Smith?
No? Or Arthur? Come on, dude.
So I'm going to go New Orleans.
Wow.
Winning the division for the first time in a little bit here. I like Winston. I think Thomas will be back. I like the addition of Landry and Alvin Kamara. I think is one of the better running backs in the NFL. And I love their defense. We've seen them bottle up Mike Evans with Marcus Lattimore at cornerback. And then I'm actually going to go Carolina finishing in second here. I think Baker, listen, I've been down on Baker, really, I mean, almost since he's been in the NFL, but I just think that chip on his shoulder, playing the Browns week 1, and then the talent surrounding him. If Christian McCaffrey's healthy,
is he going to be though?
I kind of think he will. And then DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. So I think, backs against the wall between Baker, between Rule, fighting for their jobs here. I feel like they finished 9-8. Don't make the playoffs, but finish 9-8. And then I'm going to go Atlanta in third. I think what we'll see here, Cordarrelle Patterson, one of the underrated players in the National Football League, started out as a receiver, moved to running back, kind of does both now. I think he's going to have a big year. I think Kyle Pitts, coming off that 1,000-yard season as a rookie, will keep ascending. And then I think what will happen here, Mariota will play pretty good and kind of, deserve to have the job as a starter all season. But let's say by week 12, maybe they're 4-7, and then they just say, let's see what we have in Desmond Ridder. And they kind of fade off the rest of the year. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all the hype, Brady's return, bringing in Julio Jones. And listen, I'm staying true to the reel from the other day when I said that they're going to finish last. I just think the patchwork offensive line, Brady's ego, thinking that it doesn't matter who's surrounding him, that he's going to have success. I think it finally comes to fruition here. The downfall of one Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, Tony, as the Buccaneers win 4 games, sending Brady into retirement. Todd Bowles, one and done as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's bold, but let's see, right? And then lastly, NFC West here. We have the 49ers, bringing back Jimmy G, starting Trey Lance. We'll see what happens there. Debo staying after demanding the trade. You look at the Cardinals, missing DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 weeks with that PED suspension, bringing in Kyler Murray's former Oklahoma teammate in Hollywood Brown. You look at the Rams, obviously, no Odell, tearing his ACL and hasn't even resigned yet. Losing Sony Michel, will Cam Akers give him a full season at running back? Stafford with the tennis elbow, never anything you like to hear from your quarterback. And then the Seattle Seahawks saying goodbye to Russell Wilson, bringing in Geno Smith. Obviously,
so crazy.
So crazy. Drew Lock just couldn't win that job. Obviously, he's been a bust since coming over to the NFL. And then, you have DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett. I guess you have Noah Fant, but you don't have too much else than that. So how do you cap this NFC West?
I would honestly say winning the division, the 49ers. I think Jimmy G is going to have a career year.
So when does he unseat Trey Lance?
Let's say week 3.
Well, so Lance just deer in
Eats
headlights from the start.
Yeah. And I think Jimmy G comes in, and I think this is going to be his year, dude. I think he's going to have a career year leading the 49ers to the win of the division. And then behind them, I guess LA. I understand Stafford, tennis elbow. We're going to see how tough this guy is. And what's the treatment for tennis elbow? What's the plan here? No idea. Is it just rest?
It's Roethlisberger playing 1 game a couple years ago, missing the whole season. That is
Come
what's
on,
gonna happen.
dude.
Maybe
No
we'll give him
way.
3 or 4.
No
I'm
way.
telling you, an elbow, it's a ticking time bomb. And you don't want to see. I don't know if Blake Bortles is still the backup quarterback. He may be. If that's the case, the Rams could be in trouble.
We've seen what Stafford's done. What was his 3rd year with Detroit? He had a couple plays with the separated shoulder.
The game against Brady Quinn.
Yeah.
I think they each had
led
6
them
touchdown
down
passes.
the field, dude. So we know this guy is tough. He doesn't take no for an answer. He's not gonna let a little tennis elbow. Could you imagine how that sounds to him? Tennis elbow.
Yeah.
They're gonna come in second. I guess the Cardinals come in third. Not Kyler Murray, decent year, but again, DeAndre Hopkins, that's a huge loss. PEDs, suspension for how long? 6 weeks?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
I think his boy they brought in from college, he's not going to be able to wear his shoes, right? So, they're going to be good. Kyler Murray, he's a runner, he's athletic. Obviously, the chemistry with his boy from college will be there, but will the talent really be? I don't think so. Still locking at third, and then Seahawks with really, I don't think a dog in any fight here. And Geno Smith, I can't believe he's still in the league, dude.
I know.
Oh,
crazy.
Dude. So,
crazy.
Seahawks last.
I'm going to trust you here and say that Stafford somehow makes it through the year. So
he does.
If he does that, the Rams are obviously the class of the division.
You think Odell signs?
I think Odell goes to the Packers because I think they're going to see that they need another target, and I think he's perfect for them. But obviously having Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Cam Akers, just to name a few, Tyler Higbee, they're going to be okay. So we're going to say Rams winning the division. I am going to say the Cardinals finishing second, despite the Hopkins PD suspension. I think that chemistry from Oklahoma will return, and they will lean on James Conner in the running game. We saw him score some touchdowns last year. By default, Niners will finish third. I think I would honestly pick the Niners to win this division if they were going to just go with Jimmy G from the rip. But I think they're going to, 3 games, I think is a little light. You have a guy who was, I think, the 3rd overall pick in the draft last year. They're going to give him a longer leash than that, but by the time they pull the plug, it might be too late. They might start out 1-4, 2-5. So I feel like, they're going to finish third. And I think, Seattle, might be in contention once again for that number 1 pick there with Geno Smith and Drew Lock. in their quarterback room. So that does it for our divisions, Tony. And if you would give us a Super Bowl matchup and Super Bowl winner.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. Matchup, I guess from the AFC. Jeez, I guess give me the Bills. NFC, Bills Bucks.
Bills Bucks. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the
Bills.
2023
Bills,
Super Bowl champion
baby.
is the Buffalo Bills.
Hell
Oh,
yeah, dude. Bills Mafia. Let's go.
All
Josh
right.
Allen.
So I am gonna
The only New York team.
I am gonna copy you here. Go with the Bills out of the AFC. Really like what they bring to the table. And then in a surprise here, just the
Don't
kind
say
of
that.
the nature of the conference. I think it's finally the time for Aaron Rodgers to return to the Super Bowl. Hasn't been to a Super Bowl in 11 seasons, and he finally gets back to the big game. And the heartbreak for the Buffalo Bills fans continues as they defeat them in our year 2023 Super Bowl champions. And what is going to be a very exciting and fun NFL season. And I'm pumped to get underway tomorrow with the Bills and the Rams. So right off the rip, we see two of the best teams in the National Football League. Bonus, Tony, putting you under the bus here. MVP.
Oh, dude, come on. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah. Hands down. Easy money. What do you got, dude?
This is a little bit of a tricky spot here. But I'm going to go Justin Herbert.
Really?
I think Justin Herbert has a chance to eclipse the 55 touchdown mark set by Peyton Manning. I think it was 2013, I want to say. Either that or 2014, I forgot. But nevertheless, Herbert is a force to be reckoned with. And I think next season, we might see him possibly make it to the Super Bowl. But obviously, a lot of time in between now and then.
Yes, lots of time, Brian. Lots of football to be played too.
But other than that, I believe do we have
we have a few comments, dude.
Okay.
That I neglected a little bit. We were on a roll there.
We were
okay.
on a roll.
We were on a roll. My mother says good morning. Sorry I'm late. Nice haircut, aunt. Thank you very much.
So I didn't get a nice haircut?
Given by yours truly. She's wearing a hat. She can't see your hair. She goes, I love the Giants. And then that's basically it. That's it. So then she's like, why aren't you answering me? Can you see my texts? Like, this is, yeah.
And
and Buffer.
For when is the next screen time?
You're in good luck, Buffer, because it is at 1:00 here today. Manny and I are in studio right now, actually. Manny, off camera, Manny. He's on the microphone, actually. If you want to chime in, Manny.
I am on the microphone.
Oh, he's on the microphone. Yes, we're doing best alien movies today, 1:00. It's gonna be dope.
Yes, we are. I got some
Manny's
good
in
ones.
all black. He's got some good ones. The crap hat, the sunglasses.
We gotta be looking fresh, man.
The Rogue T-shirt.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Remember?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So
even Brian will be tuning in.
I will be.
Brian,
tuning in.
favorite alien movie right now?
Oh yeah, let's go.
What do you got, Brian?
I got the Yankees, dude.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
The alien right there. The Yankees.
Yeah. What?
Dude, it's not my thing.
A movie about an
alien.
An alien movie, dude.
It doesn't mean that you guys aren't great at what you do. It's just not my thing.
Have you not seen an alien movie? Like,
I honestly don't think I have. Honestly.
Even like a kid alien?
Even like the movie Alien or Predator.
I know it sounds crazy.
I don't like it.
Give me spring training baseball over an alien movie.
I'll give it to you. That's fine.
But I actually do have a question for you. There's been a lot of back and forth between me and Tony.
Oh boy, here we go.
And listen, no hard feelings here. I'm just curious. Had to pick better chance to win this year, Yankees or the Mets?
Truthfully, I have no idea. But the only thing I've heard is that the Mets were doing better, but now apparently the Mets are doing shittier. I mean, Yankees always seem to pull something off, and that's why I also hate them because I'm from Boston. But I'd probably give it to Yankees.
All right,
Sorry.
so those are some words of wisdom.
No, they're
by
not.
Manny.
You didn't even
They're
know.
they're that type of team.
This
They
is
just-
what you're taking.
Tony,
This is who you have confidence in.
All I'm saying is, other than prefer, and obviously your mother, of course, a loyal fan. Anytime we have these conversations, no one picks the Mets. I'm just saying those are the only people that you
Because
have.
you're
on your
asking
side.
Renee and Manny. That's
But
why.
Renee is a voice of reason, is she not?
Oh no way, dude.
100% yes.
Oh, my
man.
God.
Oh man. But other than that, and everybody getting excited for screen time. Anything else, Tony?
I don't think so, dude. Go check out our YouTube channel. Our EOS Farms vlog is out there. I've been uploading reels to Instagram. It's a fun vlog. Even Manny enjoys it. He doesn't enjoy anything.
I actually did watch it and liked it.
Did you actually watch
Yeah,
it?
dude,
Let's
I've been
go.
That's because
dude.
you've been bombarding my fucking feeds.
Good.
And it's phenomenal.
Good.
Yes,
good.
I
good.
love
definitely,
it.
definitely check
Yeah,
that out,
check that
as well as the variety of videos that we do have on our YouTube page. And speaking of, because there is, so a couple episodes of me and Tony playing basketball. Did make my return to the court yesterday, so we gotta set that up soon. Had some good moments, still kind of getting into the swing.
You
of
guys,
things.
you guys played?
Yeah, it's funny. I was
Oh,
actually
God.
watching the reels that Mike ended up making, and we look pretty good, dude.
Yeah. So
We look good out there.
Can we get a game within a month?
I think we said that like 3 months
All right,
ago
but
one time.
can
But
we
yes,
guarantee
September 7th by October 7th.
By
We will get a
October
game,
7th, round 3.
When do we film the intros? Is the first question that I thought.
Yeah, dude. I
We need
know.
intros for each one of you.
Yeah.
This needs to be put up.
Like in the studio with the lights, the balls.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Let's do all
I
the
think
hero
we need,
shots.
even if it's one of those where you just flip the page, we need a scoreboard, because I know
Yeah.
there was some,
We need an officiant.
Yeah.
We need a ref.
Well, I think Michael is a good ref, but we also
Yeah.
need a scorekeeper. I think we can't.
Oh,
have
you
Yeah,
him
guys-
do both
okay,
jobs.
scorekeeper. Yeah, Brian cheats with the score all the
Oh
time.
my
okay.
god.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Should we
And,
get
uh,
like the
we got
summer?
breaking news. We have to get this
Breaking
in there.
news is
Oh
going.
shit, dude.
Robert Saleh says it's likely that quarterback Zach Wilson, the earliest he will be available is week 4 against the Steelers, setting up 3 weeks of Joe Flacco versus the AFC North, including this Sunday against his former team, the Baltimore Ravens.
Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts are a little disappointed because there were some chatter that he might be available for Sunday. So all of a sudden now it's week 4. However, we saw the struggles that Wilson had last year. So I think it's a good thing to take it easy. Let's not get injured again. But I kind of do wish they were starting Mike White. And I think Mike White gets a shot if Flacco, looked a little shoddy his last appearance in the preseason. Mike White possibly getting a shot here, but a little bit of a tough news. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was watching that game live, and I thought Wilson was out for the year. So if he misses 3 games, he misses 3 games. Let's make the most of the remaining 14.
Love it, dude.
But yeah, other than that, really like to thank everyone for tuning in and just continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Already mentioned the archives YouTube page, Tony and Costin. We haven't said that in a while. And then of course the summer collection at downtimetv.com. Everybody enjoy the day. Let's go Yankees, and enjoy the next edition of Screen Time. We'll see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.